So the next thing we have is solve the equation 2b minus 6 equals 4b. So 2 times some number minus 6 has to equal 4 times some number. So again, b is the variable, it's the unknown. So one of the things in math is, when you are solving a problem, you may come away with an equation that looks a little funny to begin with. So if we can kind of clean it up, it can help us identify the solution a little bit more clearly. So here are a list of steps you can go through to solve more complicated equations. So one of the first steps is simplify each side of the equation. So if we look at the left side, we have 2b minus 6. Those are not like terms, so that is simplified. The right side just has one term, 4b, so it's simplified. So step 1 is done for us. There aren't any parentheses, and there's not any like terms to deal with. So we're moving on to the next step. If the variable is on both sides, then we need to deal with it. One of the things we do is we call this pick on little guy using what's called a zero pair. So in doing this problem, this becomes necessary. So if I have 2b minus 6 equals 4b, notice how the variable b is on both sides of the equation. So what I want to do is pick on little guy. Well, for me, the 2b is what I consider the little guy because it has a smaller coefficient. What I want to do is zero it out. To zero it out, I use its opposite. So the opposite of 2b is actually a negative 2b. But if I put that on one side of the equation, I have to put that on the other side of the equation. So what I'm doing is putting a negative 2b on both sides of the equation, and then I'm simplifying. But notice how the 2b and the negative 2b will zero out. So all that's left over here is a negative 6. On the right-hand side, if you have 4b minus 2b, notice how those are like terms. So all you got to do is focus on the coefficients. So 4 lose 2 leaves me 2. And then you just bring the coefficient or the variable down next to it. So you have 2b equals this negative 6. So I may want to rewrite it because I prefer to have my variable on the left side. So 2b equals this negative 6. You may not have to do that. You may be done. So at this point, this equation, 2 times what number is going to give me a negative 6? Well, I know 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. But what I need is a negative, though. So that means this has got to be a negative 3. So again, if I want, I can also divide each side by 2 to make the coefficient of b turn into a 1. So I can do that. And notice how these 2's will divide out and turn into a 1. But 1b is the same thing as b. And negative 6 divided by 2 is then this negative 3. And again, if you want to use a calculator, you are allowed to use a calculator. So negative 3 would be the only number that makes this equation true. So it's the only number in the set. So the solution set would be the set of 3. So if I want to check this, I could actually put this in the problem as 2 times negative 3 minus 6 equals 4 times negative 3. So if I do each side of the equation, and again, if I want to save some time or if I just want to get some calculator practice, I can just put this into the calculator. So 2 times, and then remember, this is the negative symbol over here on the calculator. In parentheses, a negative 3, close parentheses. And then this is the subtraction sign up here by the plus sign. If I put minus 6 there, if I work that out, that gives me a negative 12. Well, the other side has to also produce a negative 12. So does 4 times a negative 3 also give me a negative 12? It does. So this is a true statement because negative 12 does equal negative 12. And that's what we mean by solving an equation. We're looking for the value of the variable that makes each side the same amount. And negative 3 is the only number that makes each side the same amount, and that amount would be this negative 12. So negative 3 would become our solution to this equation.